Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon on this beautiful, yet just a little chilly Saturday afternoon. Thank you so very much for joining us on today on this platform, which is acknowledged as Project 365. I am Portia Wheatley. I am the founder and the president of a nonprofit organization acknowledged as Trophy of Life Incorporated, where we have the great opportunity, the privilege, and most of all, the God assignment to render hope, encouragement, and inspiration to you, our audience across the whole wide world. Well, today on Saturdays, we have dedicated it to our young people, which is acknowledged as the voice of the next generation. Well, Takira couldn't do it today because she is serving a family, doing what she does best, very hospitable, and she is doing that hospitality task right about now. So I'm filling in for her. We always say we have to make it happen. However, we meaning Project 365, Takira and I have to make it happen. God will make a way somehow that we can bring you hope, encouragement, and of course, inspiration. Well, today we want to just chat about our young people. If we're not bringing a young person to the platform on a Saturday, believe me, the topic will be surrounded around young people. And today we want to talk about the effect of social media for our young people or to our young people. It is not always a positive action, even for adults, let alone the young people. So much is said and done on the media platform. And it's not, like I said, it's not always something positive. And it can really have a negative effect on our young people because they look externally, many times they look externally for approval. But we have to teach our young people the good comes from within. Your ability to do and want to do comes from within. Your beauty comes from within. And there are many times we have to really, really encourage our young people because they don't always have that in their immediate family. And I know that for a fact. And I'm sure you probably know individuals who, or shall I say young people, that come from a very drama-filled life. And it is our responsibility, yes, our responsibility to encourage them to be better. Each generation should always want their next generation to be better than they are. So today we want to encourage you through a video. I'm gonna try this. Takira's not here to walk me through it, so I'm gonna try this. Nope, I haven't got it yet. For someone that may have said, you haven't gotten it yet. No, I have not, but I'm gonna try it. And if I'm not successful with it, I'll come back and talk about it. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. We are going to share screen. We're gonna share there. There. And it was another, oh, over here. Let's see. Stop recording, pause that, share sound, and play. And I want you to put in the comments if you could hear it or not, okay?
6 months ago, I did something so unbelievable, it changed my life. I went on a 30-day fast, and for the first time in a long time, I felt free. Free to think, free from judgment, free to focus, and free from this busy, noisy, information-hungry world. 6 months ago, I did my very own social media fast. That's right, I logged off. You see, I only intended to fast for 30 days because I realized I was so far immersed in the social world, I felt like I was losing myself. But suddenly, 30 days turned into 60 days, and 60 days turned into 6 months. 6 months social media free, and I feel like I recovered from something that was heavily influencing my creativity and my intelligence in a way that I didn't like. I felt like I was in my own world, and I loved it. You see that smile right there? That's what I felt like. But I learned something in these last 6 months. I realized that social media is one of the biggest threats to the brain. It's a very scary thought, but social media has programmed us to think less, to focus less, and to question less. Now, let me be clear. I am not anti-social media. As a marketer, a social media consultant, and research student, I've benefited firsthand from being on social media. I've met business partners that began as simply a Facebook connect. I've profited from being simply social media savvy, helping business owners position their online brands to attract target audiences. And I study behavioral effects of social media as a thesis of my research. So again, I'm not anti-social media, but I am conscious of the dangers of social media consumption. And I use this word consumption, it's an economic term to describe our social media use, because we are literally feeding our minds ideas, thoughts, content, emotions as we scroll up and down our timelines. And we do it so frequently that these ideas, thoughts, emotions, content become a habit. It takes 21 days to make a habit, so after 21 days, this habit of constantly being on social media becomes a pattern of our character, deeply ingrained in our lives. I'm a research student at my college, and while experiencing my social media fast, I decided to change the topic of my research to focus on social media effects. I was curious to know, what are the tangible effects, the difference makers of social media consumption? And I was interested in 3 variables: academic performance, income levels, and self-confidence or self-image. So in other words, I wanted to know, is there a relationship between time spent on social media and grade point averages? Do students who spend more or less time on social media earn better grades? What about income? Do people who spend more or less time on social media earn higher wages or higher salaries? And what about self-confidence? Do people who spend more or less time on social media have a better or worse level of self-confidence? Overall, I wanted to know what difference, if any at all, that social media have on our lives. And when I present my research in April, my hope is to create awareness about social media effects and how we could use social media tools to add value to our lives. Now, there are 7.6 billion with a capital B, people on this planet. And of that 7.6 billion, about 3 billion are social media users. Facebook alone has 2.2 billion monthly active users. And those are active users. That figure doesn't include people like me who take a leave of absence every so often. 500,000, literally 500,000 people join Facebook every single day, which amounts to about 6 new profiles every second. 3, 2, 1. 18 people just joined Facebook in that last 3 seconds. Of the 2.2 billion people on Facebook, about 76% say that they check it daily. By a show of hands, and be honest, how many of us here check Facebook or some form of social media at least once a day? All hands go up, fair enough. Now, the problem with social media is that it's programmed us to behave in ways that are dangerous to our mental well-being. First, social media has created this fake world of perfection. And we've been programmed to curate our lives around this fake sense of perfection. Let me explain what I mean. Anybody here follow a few people on social media whose lives just appear to be so perfect? Like, man, so-and-so is always on vacation. It looks like that person's always eating out every time they get on Snapchat. Best grades, beautiful family. Anybody follow a few people like that? Now, what I'm not saying is that that person's online posts or online activities are false or fake. That's not what I'm saying. Because I'll admit, I'm one of those people who have been told, wow, your life looks so great. So that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is we shouldn't judge a person's online life when we don't know their offline life. We don't know their offline reality. Because what happens is we begin to compare ourselves to people's online controlled content. Anybody read a good book here lately or recently? That's like reading a book and comparing your life to a character in a book. Understand that social media is nothing more than a virtual world full of narratives, stories that people tell about their lives and experiences. And the thing is, we want to tell the world all the great and the positive things about us, which is fine. But what we cannot do, or what we should not do, is judge ourselves, criticize ourselves against what we perceive other people's lives to be. That is one of the psychological effects of social media. We've been programmed to constantly play this game of catch up, constantly catching up with the next person, competing with the next person. When what we should do is embrace where we are in our own individual journeys. And believe me, if you're here today, you're exactly where you need to be. Second, social media has taught us to constantly be seeking social validation.
Yep.
Social validation is when you write a post, upload a picture, and then spend about 20 minutes or so rearranging the caption a million times just to come up with something that people will like, love, or something people will share. Essentially something that people would react to, something that people would socially validate. This is big on Instagram. How many Instagram users do we have in the room? So you probably know about the Insta Draft. Well, I call it the Insta Draft. So Instagram is an image sharing site, and the Insta Draft is when you take a bunch of photos, compare them, and then the best one makes the cut. Who's done that before? It's okay, no shame. You take about 30 different selfies that all look just about the same, something like this. Or like this. Selfies are fun, right? You'll take about 30 different selfies that all look the same, and your friends will help you narrow down the top 3 or the top 5. And then you'll try on different captions and different filters, and boom. The winning picture and the winning caption makes it to the right, the Insta League, aka your Instagram profile, where all the other perfectly curated images and captions exist. That is ridiculous. Think about how much time that takes. Or think about this. People actually experience identity crisis because of that kind of social pressure. Social validation is when social media users are constantly posting for likes and attention, and they feed their ego with this false sense of confidence. True self-confidence is the only form of validation that we need. And true self-confidence is something that grows on the inside, not online. Lastly, and probably worst of all, social media has programmed us to think less. Or as one researcher put it, we begin to outsource our ability to think. Digest that for a moment, if you will. We've outsourced our ability to think. How is it that our ability to think critically, to rationalize, to create the images we see inside our imaginations, the innate feature that makes us all human, how is that outsourced? And to whom do we outsource? Well, search engines, of course. Business owners are familiar with this term called outsource. It means to obtain a good or service from an outside supplier, especially in place of an internal source. Hint, hint. So in other words, person A pays person B to do a job that person A could do, but it seems, more cost efficient for person B to do the job. Social media has taught us to do that same kind of outsourcing with our brains. Everything is findable on Google, so we think. Instant information is at our fingertips. So instead of gaining knowledge through practical and life experience, we just ask our good friend Google. And in less than a second, Google has an answer. Well, if everything is on Google, then perhaps everything has already been learned, and there's nothing else to be learned. There's nothing else to be learned. Do you see how that pattern of thinking could be dangerous? I call it mindless behavior. The internet has amplified this trend of shifting knowledge from the inside to the outside and taught us new strategies to find information we want to know through search machines. But the truth is, there is something new and exciting to be learned every single day. And not everything could be found on Google. More often, we should look within ourselves for the questions that we seek answers to, rather than outsource that intelligence, that brilliance, to a search machine. So what's the point of it all? It's this. Social media is killing our social capital as a society, one like at a time. But I believe we can reverse those habits on social media, and we can use social media for social good. Believe it or not, my friends, we can use social media to add value to our lives. I'll show you how. First, social media can be used as a tool to self-brand. How many here know that personal branding is important? Personal branding matters. I've landed interviews, internships, and countless career opportunities by being mindful and diligent about my personal brand, online and offline. I tell people all the time, the Amber that you meet online is the same Amber you'll meet offline. Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn are great tools for helping us develop our brands. And when I say brand, I don't mean he say, she say nonsense or hearsay. I mean how you consistently present yourselves or conduct yourselves online. We have to be very cognizant about what our online profiles say about us, as they could open up opportunities for us just as quick as they could close them. So let's make it our business, each of us, to conduct ourselves online in such a way that is consistent with our values and our true character. Another thing, social media is a great tool to help you expand your network. Now, I'm a networking guru, and I'll admit it. Connecting with people outside my immediate circle, exchanging ideas and information, developing relationships, that stuff is fun to me. But that is not to be confused with connecting with strangers online. You see, we must be very selective about who we choose to connect with and who we allow to be connected to us. Because frankly, not everyone has our best interests. Social media can be used as a tool to cultivate relationships with people we actually know. I'll use Facebook as an example. Facebook is a who you know network. My rule of thumb is I like to know 90% of my Facebook network, meaning for every 100 Facebook friends that I have, I know 90. They are not strangers. In the other 10, the expectation is at some point in the near future, we'll connect further. Maybe we'll see each other at an event. Maybe we're planning to attend the same conference. Or maybe we have a number of mutual friends who could provide an introduction. But the point is, we're not aimlessly connected on Facebook, and we're not following one another without a purpose. I'll show you an example of how social media can be used as a tool to self-brand and network together, and how that could yield positive results for everyone. I received this message via Facebook about a week ago from a young lady who I will say is in my age group. A lot of times when we think about networking, we think about networking up. But I'd submit to you today that it's equally important to network across in your peer group with people who are here today. So I received this message on Facebook from a young lady. We don't know each other personally, but we've been connected on social media for some time, and we have a number of mutual friends. She introduced herself, and she said, Amber, I want to applaud you for all that I see you doing on social media. I want to invite you to be the first feature of the first edition of my online magazine. Wow. Talk about opportunity, right? First of all, shout out to her for using social media for social good, because her online magazine is going to tell the stories of women and girls and inspire people across the globe. But secondly, Do you see how we could use our personal brands to attract opportunities to us and connect us with like-minded people? Of everything we've heard here today, there are 3 things that can be taken away to help all of us have better online experiences. First, if you do not have a positive purpose for using social media, then log off. And log off immediately. As a marketer, as a content writer, I'm here to tell you, it's not about the likes. It's not about the number of followers. It's about pure engagement. Real life and real-time engagement. And we should use that same approach in our personal lives. We have to be clear with ourselves and honest about what our real intentions are. So the next time you go to press send on a post, which will inevitably be today, remember this talk and ask yourself, what is my intent? Is it to motivate, to spotlight or bring awareness to bully or harm someone with my words? What really is my intent? Second, learn to like yourself first. You ever hear the phrase, if you live by people's compliments, you'll die by their criticism? It's true. When you actually like who you are and appreciate what you have to offer the world, you won't find yourself seeking social validation online. So learn to like yourself first, so that every other like on or offline will just be extra. And lastly, this one is my favorite. Consider cutting back on social media by logging off and logging back into your real life. For every 30 minutes you spend on social media, do something that stimulates your brain. You can read a chapter of a book. How many here know that leaders are readers? CEOs read about 60 books a year, whereas the average person reads just 1 book a year. They call it Facebook. In those 30 minutes, no shade. You could do so much. You could learn a new skill. You could have a deep offline conversation with someone. Anybody here see Black Panther lately? That movie alone has sparked such great and necessary dialogue. You could read a book. You could learn a new recipe, spend time with a loved one. You could teach a class. You can do so many things. Someone here I was talking to in the audience before I got up here said they took a trip to Africa since they've been off social media. You can do so many things. Do something so profound that it ignites your soul. Ever since I logged off social media and logged back into my personal life, I've been able to reclaim my time like never before. And I know that you can too. Thank you.
Wasn't that amazing? That was very enlightening and a lot of information. And just to recap a couple of her points that she made, and don't forget, this is more so for young people, it's for the adults as well. But I think adults, some adults, I'm not going to categorize all adults, but some adults need this information as well because they live on Facebook. Come on, we have to have a life outside of Facebook. One of the things she said, it can be not just Facebook, but it can be a fake sense of perfection. If we're comparing ourselves against other people or just by other people, for one, it's a slap in the face to God because God made you very unique and he wants you to be who he has made you to be. But when we look at other people on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, a lot of this can be negative, but remember, much of it can be positive. It's all in how you look at it, and it's all in how you utilize it. So if we can do it in a positive manner, it will really work for our good. They look for social validation. You don't need anyone to validate you. Ask God to give you the self-awareness, build your self-esteem, work on developing who God said you can be and who you are. That's who he's made you to be. We can't look at these media platforms and try to be like everyone else. we tend to think or stop thinking as much on our own, stop thinking as much on our own, and we look for outsources without ourselves on the external. But whatever answer we need, many times is within, especially if we can just talk with someone, talk to a trusted friend, talk to a confidant, talk to your pastor, talk to your one of the leaders that he or she may assign. We can't go on what we find on the internet. Many times, even if it is an element in our body, many times we go to the internet and like, okay, let me put this symptom in, let me note this symptom and see what comes up. Many times those individuals, they're not even doctors that put their opinion on. So it's amazing how we have to really get correct information for ourselves, for our young people, for the adults. It is amazing. I love that word, amazing, because it really is some of the things that we live in this world today. It is amazing what people say or what people do, where people go, what enjoyment they like to do. But is that something that God made you to enjoy, to like, to love doing? We have to really um, check ourselves and see what God is saying. Let's look within and find what God wants us to do, where he wants us to go. Um, and when you really think about it, the young people follow the adults most of the time. That's the way it's supposed to be. Um, if they see us on the internet, Googling, Facebook, Instagram, whatever other platforms are out there, if they see that we have a constant, always there, they're going to take on those habits as well. Whether they're college students, high school students, elementary. I've never seen so many kids that know how to, that have a phone. Let's go there first. That have a cell phone. And I know many, well, I'm sure they know how to use it, because usually you go to the young people, any type of gadget, they know how to use it. But when it comes to the point of engaging more into the platform of the media, or social media rather, it takes away from family time. It takes away from, if you can, dinner time together or movie time together. When was the last time you actually engaged in family activities and family events with your daughter, your son, your grandchildren, rather than to sit and scope out social media? It's taken away from our quality time with our young people. And believe me, the young people need quality time. If we don't give it to them, they're going to find it elsewhere. They're going to find it elsewhere, and it's not going to be the best for them. What else did she say? Oh, it can be used for good and bad. Because of course, with this pandemic, that we're living in now, man, I am so glad for Facebook, but it has not become so much of my life that I'm like, good morning, Facebook. Good afternoon, Facebook. I'm going to get a sandwich, Facebook. I'm going to walk the dog, Facebook, and good night. Well, but if that works for you, you do that. You do that. But it's only so much that we should put on. But most of all, during this pandemic, it was a great platform for still touching people, reaching out to people and showing them that you still love them. They are still important. Getting the word of God, a Bible study, or just reaching out to a widow or a widower or someone that's sick that can't take care of themselves per se, but you check on them to see how they're doing. This social distancing has really put people in a place where we definitely need each other. We definitely need each other. And the young people, not too long ago, we had an opportunity to share or to bring someone to the platform to talk about suicide. There have been many suicides by young people because of social distancing, where they were not able to touch people or be with their friends or go to a game or go to the mall or things of that nature, which is important to them. May not be as important to adults, but it is important to them. And they just went in a low place. But they had Facebook. And see, that's why I'm saying it could be good and it could be bad, because there are definitely bullies out there that use Facebook to bully people. So I think one of the best platforms, how Facebook can be used, is to really reach out to people and let them know that you're there, you love them, you still care about them, you want to know what they're doing. But it's a good way to do it. Step back and see what that good way is, or how you can reach out, excuse me, and how you can still let people know that you care about them. Stimulate your brain, because many times, even now, let me say, I'm thinking of phone numbers. It's in my phone, it's in that particular equipment. I'm like, okay, I remember my phone number from as a child, or I'm thinking about Brian and Craig's phone numbers right off the bat. I better go check my phone and see. It's reaching out to Facebook, something that's always go. It's almost like New York, always something going on, 24/7, always something going on. And Facebook is it always has something, always has something going on. And then we think about it as well with our young people. Let's start with the adults first. Again, with our adults, we're always on it. And don't forget, I'm not categorizing everybody. If the shoe fits, wear it. If not, I'm not, yeah, yeah. We can actually do some good. We can actually do some good with Facebook, but limit it. Limit our use of it. Spend some time, like she said, reading a book. Spend some alone time. Alone time. I said this before, sit with yourselves for a minute. Are you, not who Facebook says you are, or any of the other platforms say you are. And it's always good to get encouragement. But today, we want to encourage you to step back a little and establish your own self. Develop yourself, develop your thoughts, your actions, your mind, your brain. If the young people see us do that, I believe they can follow in some of our footsteps. All right. But we just wanted to encourage the young people today from I'm getting ready to say a senior citizen. I'm almost there. Not quite. So don't put me there too quickly. But let them see what we do in the fulfillment of life. And prayerfully, they will follow in our footsteps. All right. This project, 365, sharing hope, encouragement, and inspiration. We're prayerful that today you receive some type of message of those same words, as to the effect of social media and what it has, or how it has an effect on our young people. Okay. If you see your son, daughter, niece, nephew using too much of it, pull them away and have a conversation with them. And they might be surprised, depending on the type of person that we are. But really, get to know them. Get to know them, and they get to know you. All right. Thank you so very much for joining us. Matter of fact, let me check the comments. Usually Mother Barnes has something going on. Let's see. Mother Barnes, great advice. Let's see. Mother Barnes, you said something early that I saw. I think, let's see here. Can't find it now. So you're saying let your first like be. She said, so you saying let your first like be, I like me. Hey, if that works for you, do it. Do it. Great connections for sharing love. It is. Mother Barnes says it is a great connection for sharing love. It definitely is. So however you can use it for a positive, in a positive way, let's do that. All right. And show our young people, our millennials, our and those that is so many categories under the millennials. But let's show them we can live a beautiful life and not be on Facebook all day long. Okay. I love you, my audience of Project 365. Please continue to pray for us. We have some great individuals coming to the platform to grace it. And please join us tomorrow, but definitely join us on Monday. We have a powerful presentation for you for Motivational Monday. All right. She's a powerhouse. And tomorrow night, widows and widowers, we're just going to have a powwow, a real talk session. If you would like to join me, just email me at trophyoflife@gmail.com, and I will send you the link. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you, and just know that I pray for every widow and widower that I know and that I don't know. So I think that covers it all. But we want you to be blessed. Don't forget, if you would like to join us for a real talk with the widows and the widowers on tomorrow night, which is October the 24th at 7 p.m., let me know. And it's no registration necessary. Just let me know so that we can give strength to each other, share laughter, share what's on your heart. We're going to do that. All right. God bless you. I love you. And we shall see you on tomorrow.